You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, May the 10th, 2020. Starting with this game, the Los Angeles Angels beat the Baltimore Orioles by a score of 3-2. Dylan Bundy got the win. He's now 5-0. Wade LeBlanc got the loss, and Hansel Robles now has 12 saves on the season. The Boston Red Sox beat the New York Yankees and completed a 3-game weekend series sweep of the Yankees. Brian Johnson got the win in this one. Chad Green got the loss. This game took 12 innings. The Yankees made a roaring comeback in the 8th inning, scoring 3 runs to tie it. It went to the 10th. Each team scored a run in the 10th inning, but the Red Sox piled on 2 in the top of the 12th, and the Yankees could not respond to that. The Texas Rangers lost to the Tampa Bay Rays. Final score of this one was 3-1. Each team scored in the 7th inning, but the Rays tacked on 2 in the 8th to take the lead and ultimately win the game. Chaz Rowe got the win, Luis Garcia got the loss, and Nick Anderson now has 13 saves on the season. The Toronto Blue Jays played the Oakland Athletics, and the A's won by a score of 5-1. Jesus Luzardo got the win, Trent Thornton got the loss, and Lou Trevino now has a save on the season. He got credited with a save in this one. The Kansas City Royals and Minnesota Twins played each other in an AL Central matchup. The Twins won by just 1 run that they had to obtain by walking it off in the bottom of the 9th. Tyler Clippard got the win, and Rosario got the loss. The Cleveland Indians beat the Detroit Tigers by a score of 7-0. The Indians scored 5 runs in the 5th, and they never relinquished the lead after that. Adam Cavalli got the win, and Spencer Turnbull got the loss. An AL West matchup here between the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Final score of this game was 4-1. Zach Greinke got the win, Justice Sheffield got the loss, and Roberto Ozuna now has 14 saves on the season. The Miami Marlins lost to the Atlanta Braves. Final score of this game was 5-3. The Marlins scored all 3 of their runs in the top of the 9th inning, but the Braves had the lead since the 1st inning and put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the 8th, which helped them secure the win. Cole Hamels got the win, Caleb Smith got the loss, and Will Smith now has 12 saves as a member of the Braves this season. The Washington Nationals played the Chicago Cubs. This game was filled with offense. The Cubs scored 10 runs on 12 hits. The Nationals scored 5 runs on 10 hits, but the Cubs had a 6-run first inning, and they were able to pull away with the lead and get the win. Yu Darvish got the winning decision as the pitcher of the Cubs, and Anibal Sanchez got the loss. The St. Louis Cardinals played the New York Mets, and the Mets came out with a 2-1 victory. The Mets scored 2 runs in the top of the 2nd inning. The Cardinals could only muster 1 run in the bottom of the 4th inning. Marcus Stroman got the win. He's 3-0 now on the year. Jack Flaherty is now 5-2, and Edwin Diaz earned his 10th save of the season. The Philadelphia Phillies played the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Phillies won by a score of 7-3. This game would have been much closer if the Phillies hadn't put a 4 spot on the Pirates in the 1st inning. Zach Eflin got the win, and Mitch Keller still winless this season. He's 0-3. The Arizona Diamondbacks played the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Diamondbacks won by a score of 10-5. Despite the Brewers getting 16 hits, they were only able to score 5 runs. The Diamondbacks got 10 runs on 12 hits. Most of their runs came in the 8th inning when they put up a 6 spot. Yohan Lopez got the win, and Corey Knebel got the loss. The Reds and Rockies played each other, and the Reds won this game. Final score was 3-2. This game went into extra innings. Took 11 to decide it, but the Reds scored at the top of the 11th, and the Rockies could not respond. Lucas Sims got the win, Jake McGee got the loss, and Raisel Iglesias now has 8 saves on the season. The San Diego Padres and Los Angeles Dodgers played each other in Game 3 of this NL West matchup, and the Padres are continuing to struggle to begin May, and they lost a huge series. Now they got swept in a huge series against the Dodgers. Julio Urias got the win, Joey Lucchesi got the loss, and Kenley Jansen now has 14 saves on the season. And interleague play here between the Chicago White Sox and the San Francisco Giants. The Giants lost by a final score of 4-2. The Giants struck first in the bottom of the 1st, but the White Sox answered in the top of the 2nd with a run of their own, and then the White Sox scored 3 runs in the top of the 3rd inning and had the lead for the rest of the game. Dane Dunning got his first win of the season. Drew Smyly now 0-5, and Alex Colome now has 12 saves on the season. We'll take a look at standings now, starting in the American League East. The New York Yankees are 24-16, though they've lost 3 in a row to the Red Sox. The Rays have passed the Orioles for second place in this division. The Rays are 22-20. They're 3 games back of the division on a 2-game winning streak. The Orioles lost to the Angels today. They're 21-19, 3 games back of the division. The Red Sox have passed the Blue Jays. The Red Sox are on a 5-game winning streak. They just swept the Yankees in the weekend series they played them in, and they're 19-23 now, 6 games back of the division. And the Blue Jays are in last place, 18-22 is their record. They're also 6 games back of the division. In the American League Central, the Chicago White Sox are 27-13. They lead this division. They're on a 5-game winning streak. The Twins are also on a hot streak of their own. The Twins still in second place on a 6-game winning streak with a 25-15 record, 2 games back of the White Sox. The Cleveland Indians are 25-18, 3.5 games back of the division, and they are on a 3-game winning streak. The Detroit Tigers are on a 3-game losing streak. They're 14-26, 13 games back of the division. And the Kansas City Royals still stuck at 10 wins, but they've reached 30 losses. They're 10-30, 17 games back of the division on a 4-game losing streak, and they've lost 9 of their last 10. And in the American League West, the Oakland Athletics still lead this division. 25-17 is their record, and they are still on a 4-game winning streak. The Houston Astros also staying hot. The Astros are on a 5-game winning streak with a 24-17 record, and they are still a half game back of the Athletics. The Los Angeles Angels beat the Baltimore Orioles today. The Angels are 18-21, 5.5 games back of the division. The Texas Rangers are 17-23, 7 games back of the division. And the Mariners are 17-26. They're on a 5-game losing streak. They've lost 7 of their last 10, and they're 8.5 games back of this division. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals still lead this division. 24-15 is their record. The Phillies still in second, and the Phillies on a 4-game winning streak now. They're 22-18. The Marlins are 21-20, 4 games back of the division. The Braves are 21-21. They're 4.5 games back of the division. And the Mets on a little 2-game winning streak. They're 17-23, 7.5 games back of the division. In the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers and St. Louis Cardinals are still tied for the top spot. The Brewers are on a 4-game losing streak, and the Cardinals have lost 2 in a row. They each have a 21-20 record. The Cubs are 20-21. They're 1 game back of the division after winning today. They move up a game on both these teams. The Cincinnati Reds are 18-22. They're 2.5 games back of the division. They beat the Rockies today. And the Pirates have lost 5 straight. Most recently, they lost to the Phillies. They're 14-25, 6 games back of the division. And in the National League West, the Dodgers are pulling away now with the NL West lead. They're 27-12. They're on a 6-game winning streak, and they've won 8 of their last 10. The Padres, on the other hand, are the exact opposite. The Padres have lost their last 6 games, and the Padres have lost 8 of their last 10 ball games. They're 23-17, 4.5 games back of the division, and the Padres had previously gotten swept by the Cubs, and now in this series have gotten swept by the Dodgers. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 21-19. They're 6.5 games back of the division. They're on a 5-game winning streak. They're getting hot and catching up to the Padres. The Giants are now on a 9-game losing streak after losing to the White Sox today. They're 17-23, 10.5 games back of the division. And the Rockies continue to stay at the bottom of this league. They're 14-25, 13 games back of the division after losing today to the Reds. And we'll take a look at league leaders now, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Chris Davis topping this category with a .379 average, trailed by Miguel Cabrera, who has a .374, and Carlos Santana, who has a .367. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. falls below .350 now. He's at a .349 batting average. Still at the top of this league, but Adam Eaton is only 5 points away from him with a .344 batting average, and David Dahl has a .342. He's third best in the National League. Hits leaders in the American League. Jose Abreu has 62. That leads all American League players. Chris Davis, the only other American League player with over 60. He's at 61. Good for second best in the American League. And Yankee teammates Miguel Andujar and DJ LeMahieu tied for third best with 59 hits this season. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 57 hits. That leads the National League. Ronald Acuna Jr. has 52. That's good for second best. And Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top 3 and also is the only other National League player with over 50 hits. He has 51. At bat leaders in the American League, it's a tie between Jose Abreu and J.D. Martinez for the best spot. They each have 171. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 169, and that leads the National League. Doubles leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar with 17. That's the top spot in the American League. Jose Iglesias and Anthony Rendon tied for second best with 16. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 18 doubles. That leads the National League. Trey Turner second best with 16, and Christian Yelich third best with 15. Triples leaders in the American League, Jose Altuve still leads this league with 4, but Oscar Mercado and Whit Merrifield are now tied with Adalberto Mondesi for second best. They all have 3 triples. In the National League, Jonathan Villar leads this category with 5. Trey Turner now has sole possession of second place. He has 4 triples. Chris Bryant, Hunter Pence, Andrew McCutchen, and Asdrubal Cabrera all still tied for third best. Now they have 3. Home run leaders in the American League. Chris Davis has 18. That's good for the league best. Josh Donaldson and Matt Olson tied for second best with 15. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 15. That tops this league. Max Muncy right behind him now, though, with 14. And Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top 3. He has 13 home runs. RBI leaders in the American League. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has 42. Austin Meadows has 40. And Chris Davis third best with 39. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has 37. He leads this league. Max Muncy has passed 30. He's at 31. That's good for second best. And Christian Yelich and Cody Bellinger have also reached the 30 plateau. They're tied for third best with 30. Runs scored leaders in the American League. Rafael Devers leads this category with 34. Yohan Moncada and Jose Abreu tied for second best with 33. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. leads all of baseball with 35. Trey Turner second best with 34. And Paul Goldschmidt third best in the National League with 30. Stolen base leaders in the American League. Adalberto Mondesi has 9 stolen bases. He's still tied with Mike Trout for the top spot. They each have 9. D. Gordon and Shin-Soo Choo tied for the third best spot with 8. In the National League, Starling Marte still at the top of this category in the NL. He has 15 stolen bases. Trey Turner has 11, and Tim LeCastro and Ronald Acuna Jr. are tied for third best with 10. Walk leaders in the American League. Alex Bregman has 27. That leads the American League. Mike Trout and Shin-Soo Choo tied for second best with 24. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins still leading this category. He has 33 walks. Brandon Belt next best with 28, and Ronald Acuna Jr. rounds out the top 3 with 26. On-base percentage leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman comes to top of this category. He has a 444 on-base percentage. Chris Davis has a 441 right behind him, and Miguel Cabrera third best with a 436 on-base percentage. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 443. That's good for the league best. Andrew McCutchen has a 426, good for second best. And Rhys Hoskins has a 421. That's good for third best in the NL. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Chris Davis, the only player right now in the American League with over a 700 slugging percentage. He's slugging 783. Mike Trout has a 684. That's good for second best. And Austin Meadows rounds out the top 3 with a 682. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. still leading this category. 745 slugging percentage for him. Christian Yelich at a 710, good for second best. And Paul Goldschmidt and Corey Seager close to each other. Goldschmidt third best with 665. And Corey Seager fourth best with 664. On-base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders in the American League. Chris Davis still tops this category with a 1.224. Mike Trout second best, and Austin Meadows third best. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. leads this category still with a 1.188. Christian Yelich second best, and Paul Goldschmidt third best. Moving on to pitcher statistics now, we'll start with wins leaders in the American League. Shane Bieber has 5 wins, as does Asher Wojciechowski, Dylan Bundy, Kenta Maeda, Lucas Giolito, Gio Gonzalez, and Jake Odorizzi. They are all tied for the top spot now. They have the most wins in this league. The National League sees Walker Buehler still at the top. He still has 6 wins, and then there's a long tie for second best, but all those pitchers you see there have 5 wins, and then 9 beyond have 4 or less. Losses leaders in the American League. This is still determining who is undefeated in the American League. And right now you see Dylan Bundy, Asher Wojciechowski, Ronaldo Lopez, and Kenta Maeda still lossless this season among American League pitchers. And there are two pitchers left in the National League who have yet to tally a loss. Trevor Bauer and Walker Buehler still undefeated this season. Saves leaders in the American League. Brad Hand did not get a save today, but he still leads the American League. He still leads all of baseball with 18 saves. Liam Hendricks, second best with 15, and Roberto Ozuna earned a save today. He's rounding out the top three with 14 saves. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos has the top spot now. He has 15 saves on the season. Josh Hader, Sean Doolittle, and Kenley Jansen behind him by one. They all have 14, and they're all tied for second best. ERA leaders in the American League. Zach Plesac has the lowest ERA still with a 2.04. Brad Peacock has a 2.11, and Jordan Lyles rounds out the top three with a 2.23 earned run average. In the National League, Walker Buehler, Mike Soroka, Caleb Smith, and Trevor Bauer all have earned run averages under 2. Walker Buehler being the best of all of those with a 1.32. Least amount of home runs allowed among American League pitchers. Gio Gonzalez, Frankie Montas, and John Means tied for the top spot. They've each given up just 2 home runs so far this season. In the National League, Garrett Richards still has the top spot. He's allowed just 1 home run so far this season. Shutouts among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka is still at the top. They each have 2 shutouts this season. In the National League, Zach Wheeler and Walker Buehler are also at the top of their respective league. They have 2 shutouts this season. Strikeout leaders in the American League. Garrett Cole and Carlos Carrasco tied for the top spot with a 66. And Lucas Giolito and Charlie Morton, 2 behind those 2. They're tied for third best with 64. National League strikeout leaders. Clayton Kershaw has 72. That's good for the top spot. Yu Darvish has 66. That's good for second best. And Chris Archer, third best with 65. Complete games among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka still top this category. They're at 2 complete games. In the National League, Zach Wheeler leads all of baseball with 3 complete games thrown. He's trailed by 1 to Walker Buehler, who is second best. Everybody else on the list you see there has 1. Innings pitched leaders in the American League. Shane Bieber has a 60.1 innings pitched, 60 1/3 innings pitched. That leads the American League. Carlos Carrasco and Charlie Morton tied for second best with 57 1/3 innings pitched. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw, 56 2/3 innings pitched. He's trailed by 1 inning to Mike Soroka and Yu Darvish, who are tied for second best with 55 2/3 innings recorded. Walks allowed among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco and Ivan Nova, the league best with 7 walks allowed. In the National League, Madison Bumgarner still leads this category. He has allowed just 7 walks so far this year. Alex Wood, second best with 8, and everybody else in the National League is in double digits. Whip leaders in the American League, only 1 pitcher has a whip under 1, and it's Zach Plesac. He has a .92. That's league best. The National League has 4 pitchers with a whip under 1. Walker Buehler, Mike Soroka, Clayton Kershaw, and Pablo Lopez. Pitching WAR leaders in the American League. Carlos Carrasco, a 1.5. Shane Bieber close to him, also with a 1.5. And then you have Charlie Morton and Garrett Cole, each relatively around 1.4. Charlie Morton slightly has a better WAR. He's third best. Garrett Cole is fourth best. In the National League, Chris Archer, 1.7 WAR. He still leads this category. Yu Darvish, 1.6. And Walker Buehler rounds out the top 3 with a 1.5. Batting WAR leaders in the American League. Mike Trout and Chris Davis still toward the top. And Alex Bregman and DJ LeMahieu have joined along as well. They are all about at a 2.8 WAR. And they are the top 4 in the American League. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr., the only one still with a WAR above 3. He's the only one in baseball with a WAR above 3. Christian Yelich, second best with a 2.8, and Jonathan Villar, third best with a 2.7. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, May the 10th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.